The main thing about even acting, when you're trying to find out or play a character, you have to go deep within yourself and see how you can implement your past experience and then apply it to a character on the screen, or I should say on the page, and bring it to life. So me trying to do that over 5 years, I ended up having a lot of roadblocks because of not knowing the true history of a Black person. And in order to know the true history of a Black person, you'd have to go deep into the history, and not the history that was taught by the society we live in, but the history that is hidden from the society that we live in. And unfolding the truth about that made me fell in love with it, and it changed my purpose, because at the end of the day, you're helping other people to know who they are and know their worth, and you know what I mean. So I ended up loving it even more, and like passionate about sharing that knowledge so people can know and understand themselves from a historical level that is past, not even past, pre-colonial era.
The counselor one day said to me, "You have a Christian background." I said, "Yes, I do." And he said, "Do you know the piece about working for the Lord and not for man?" And I said, "Yes." But I never applied that to anything other than work, proper paid work, which has value because you're getting paid. Motherhood, you don't get paid. And so I was devaluing it myself. And so when I adopted that piece of scripture as a bit of a mantra, suddenly everything that I was doing had meaning. So I wasn't preparing dinner, I was nourishing the next generation. I mean, I might have been a little exaggerated in it because I was thinking, I'm nourishing the next generation.
Of course.
But it made it fun, it made it playful, and it made it meaningful so that it wasn't mundane anymore. It was the task at hand, and my job was to do it to the best of my ability in the moment.
It became so much bigger.
So much
than
bigger.
you, and what you could see as, just these boring tasks. But it moved to sort of, something that you could do for your children, for the next generation, the future of society.
I think about my kids, and there's a parallel there for me in that I knew when I was 7 years old, I knew I wanted to be a wife and a mom. And that's not an occupation. It's not, lucrative financially, but it was a dream I always had. And when I got my dream, I got destroyed. And I had to reframe, reshift, adjust, adapt, and alter my expectations of what was, and be really in full acceptance of what was, to come through it.
How powerful reframing can be.
How powerful,
right?
yes.
Oh man.
I think we face so many transitions in our lives, really almost in every decade there's a transition. And I think the transition from sort of what is currently to fulfilling a dream or a shift or a new career path was really well supported by the skill that I learned when I was in crisis of being able to ask for help. I was able to say to my friends and family, hey, I had this dream to help people from a psychology perspective when I was young, and it didn't get realized because I was living the dream of having a family. Now my kids are at an age and stage where my time is coming back more under my purview, and I'm freer to make different choices, but I need help. I'm not going to be able to maintain these services and go and fulfill those ambitions. So I need help. And everybody who had stayed by me during the darkest time was with me in the light and stepped up and helped. So that, and then being able to learn the skills of grounding and emotional regulation so that I can live my life from a really clear cognitive place.
Okay, tell me more about the grounding.
The grounding? What skills?
Yeah, like something you could share with.
Yeah, my absolute favorites. Here's my absolute favorite.
Yes.
I just am sitting here right now doing Kegels and flexing my bum cheeks, my glutes. But not enough that anybody else can notice, but it's happening in this moment. And I'm letting my breath fall softly and deeply into the back of my belly.
That makes
So
sense.
my abdomen is soft
Yeah.
and full, and my seat is firm and solid.
Mhm.
And so I'm really confident in this
Mhm.
posture, and I can do it everywhere without anyone noticing. Another one I love is just to put my hands in my lap against each other,
Yeah.
and to just bring my attention and awareness to me supporting me. Just that felt sense of skin on skin. I'm connected, I'm whole. And interestingly, it's also a circle right around my heart.
Oh, wow.
And so I visualize that,
Yeah.
and I'm good.
Mhm.
But combined with the breathing,
Mhm.
those are the things that I use.
Yes.
I know there's a lot of grounding and containment techniques for
Yes.
emotional regulation,
Mhm.
but those really work for me. A young person in my life carries a rock in their pocket,
Mhm.
and it fits just in the palm. And at any moment, at any given day, if they're getting buffeted by the world and feeling dysregulated, just reach in and put the hand on the rock, take a deep breath, and it's a touchstone, a literal touchstone to remember their connection.
Yeah.
Leaving things behind.
Yes, but I would say that Facebook makes it easier.
Ah.
So definitely now.
Mhm,
Obviously,
mhm,
Facebook didn't exist when I was younger, and probably it was harder. I think nowadays when I move, I feel a little bit like I feel as if I can still be in touch to some degree. Like I didn't feel as bad moving from Winnipeg to here, or when I went to California for a year.
Yeah.
Because I could still contact those people. It was a little different when I went from Alberta to Michigan for the first time.
Mhm.
Facebook didn't exist. I guess you guys can tell. Kind of old.
You're showing your age now, babe.
Yeah. So
Mhm. Okay.
especially looking as when I got older and acquired more things,
Mhm.
going down to Michigan, I definitely had to leave things behind. I could take a suitcase and a carry-on
Mhm.
with me, and that was hard.
Yeah.
I repacked and packed and repacked, and that was kind of my first taste of the anxiety of acquiring things.
Mhm.
And I think the more you end up acquiring, the harder it is to leave it behind, especially if you get attached to it.
Sure. Yeah. That sense of, attachment to things, that sense of this thing needs to be with me, and the feeling of not having it. I can understand how that would be challenging.
Yeah.
Especially if you've had to do it a few times.
Yes. Although I feel more comfortable.
So based on what you're saying, as a child, you were able to identify the main things that you wanted to move with and that would make your move more comfortable.
Mhm.
Your Legos, your cars, and your books. And as you got older and acquired even more things and got attached to more things, recognized that I can't take all these things that
Yes.
I got attached to. I sort of have to leave some things behind.
Yes.
And had to go through that sort of separation anxiety that comes with that.
Yes. It didn't take me more than a couple days to be fine with what I had. I had enough clothes for a week, so I decided to wash them often. But I had my cameras, and I realized that as long as I had a laptop, some clothes to wear, and my cameras,
You were good.
I was good.
Man, living that minimalistic life, I don't know if I could do it.
Well, I was forced into it a little bit there, and I definitely felt uncomfortable at first, but once I got started, and I think it was also the fact that I had work to do.
Sure.
And once I started working, I stopped thinking about all the stuff I wish I had.
Yeah.
And so it was just back there. It wasn't until maybe almost a month in before I actually ended up buying a few more clothes just to kind of mix it up a little bit.
It turns out that, I guess, it actually is like folks who actually do these things, they do get the counseling. It turns out they have a 30% higher success rate in their marriage than those who don't do it.
Wow.
So imagine if folks were actually really on top of this, how great their marriage would actually be.
Yes.
Makes sense.
Okay, so people, it sounds like people are asking these questions and they are
getting the benefit out of premarital counseling. And the data is showing that 30% of those people that do premarital counseling, there's a success for them afterwards.
Absolutely.
That is really interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
When do you think would be a good time to actually get counseling?
I would say, in my experience, a lot of individuals tend to come after they've become engaged. Some individuals will start this premarital journey before they get engaged, just to identify, should I get married? Should I even ask for the person's hand in marriage? But a lot of times, I would say it's better after engagement. Why? Because you're in that place where you've already planned to get married. So you're in that space where you're preparing yourself for this big step of getting married. And the individuals that tend to ask this question before getting engaged, all the times there's either them being afraid or scared, and there are a lot of individual issues possibly that are underneath that they need to take care of. So I would recommend individual counseling before engagement.
The people who take premarital counseling, as we have discussed earlier, they have a 30% higher success rate in their marriage.
Yes.
Why do you think that is?
That is a big question. And I can't necessarily say they have this success rate because they come to premarital counseling per se, because we can't necessarily say there's causation, but it sounds like, there is a correlation, obviously, with them coming to premarital counseling. I would say it has a lot more to do probably gaining a better understanding of their partner and what their partner thinks. And this is not just something that you do in premarital counseling. I would say this is something you should do throughout your whole marital experience in life.
Right.
Because as you grow with this person, your life, you're gonna grow. You as a person is gonna grow, they're gonna grow, and you're continually trying to gain an understanding of this person as they grow and as they change.
Going back to school isn't really a stopping point. It's just like, it's a continuing point. So I was really thinking about it in the sense that if I was to continue being a full-time counselor in private practice and working in agency, I would still have to do continuing education in order to maintain that. And so just going to school is my continuing education. So
I hear you.
So it's like a 5-year, it's not a gap, but it's just like me enhancing my skills, and then also recognizing that I can still continue to work, but maybe in like a part-time capacity rather than a full kind of direction that I was wanting to go into.
A lot of people, I'm sure, would be discouraged, but at that time, I just said to myself, I'm transitioning, I had to realize that, okay, I can't give up. I have to just keep going. And I use the time to sort of build up my resources. I use the time to figure out, okay, if I'm going to have a client, what forms do I need? What do I need to ensure that my business is going to run well? So I had to create a business plan. Then I started talking about, okay, when my business is going well, how do I market it? How do I want people to, recognize what my business
branded.
Exactly. And I think that first year, even though I had one client, I felt like I accomplished so much more because after that 1 year had passed, I felt like things really picked up well because I spent that time to prepare and plan for it while I was working in the agency.
You had like a foundation that was already set up. And I think the biggest part of that was also balancing my time. So I think one of the things that I did was that, if I was to go full time in an agency or private practice, and I'd do sort of 9 to 5 or whatever the hours would look like, I would do the same thing for school. So that way, I'm still spending time with my family, with my friends, enjoying my life, but being present when I need to be present.
Wonderful. Yeah. So that idea of, making sure that you have a balance.
Yes.
That, you're not just spending all your time worrying about school and doing schoolwork, but that recognizing that you have family who's supportive and that you need to spend time with them and have some self-care. That's great.
I had applied for a similar position thinking it was going to fit well with school. I didn't, but then realized it was actually once I had gotten to a point where they wanted to call my interviews and my references that they said it was going to be full-time.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh no, not again. Yep. So I had to kind of decline that, but it was really helpful, and I was blessed that the person that was helping me with that process kind of said that you're a really great candidate, and I think you'd really help improve sort of the skill sets that are within this team and then carry on moving forward as a psychologist. So they basically said that let's keep your resume on hold for some time, and if an opportunity comes up in the future, we can call you back. And that did happen.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So that idea of seizing opportunities again. So
Of course.
I'm really hearing this theme in the sense of, instead of thinking about lost opportunities, you're thinking about, okay, how can I seize opportunities that
Yes.
will come in the future?
Exactly.
So, not thinking negatively, oh man, I really wanted this job. It wasn't what I wanted or expected, but them saying, okay, we will consider you because you're excellent, in the field and you're a good candidate. You were in more of a positive mindset in that you were like, okay, I didn't get it now, but there's a possibility I could get it in the future.
Yes.
Working full-time and going to school full-time is really tough, and it doesn't leave a lot of time.
No.
I think what I had to do to work out work-life balance was I had to schedule in a day that was just a day where I wouldn't do any work and I wouldn't do any schoolwork.
Makes sense.
And it was my rest day, right?
Yeah.
It was the day that I didn't do anything, and it was very helpful in being able to just pause, just reflect on myself,
Yes.
spend time with people, and not worry about school or work.
And I think the biggest thing I would say is the patience.
Yeah.
Right. It's going to take some time, especially recognizing that, yes, you could be earning money, working, and then now you're taking a break to do your continuing education. You might have that opportunity to do it through a work-related profession, or you might want to take a step back and actually do it for yourself.
Yeah.
But regardless, it's still a lot of patience, because spending time doing papers, working, readings and stuff, that's a lot of work. You have to be committed, and it's honestly a lot of time spent doing that. And I think the biggest piece for me, in order to actually be able to do that, is the support of people around me.
Yes, definitely. I hear that. I hear that for sure.
Yeah.
But it sounds like you've been through, and gone through this long journey,
Yes.
and you're at the end, hopefully.
Almost.
Almost at the end. And I'm sure, as you said, with the support that you have, with the networking, with that sense of patience and resilience to see it through, you'll be successful at the end.
Go at your own pace. Don't feel obligated to do anything you don't want to, you know what I mean? Take time to replenish yourself and nourish yourself. And I know it's really hard, but it's our community as a whole are specifically struggling at this moment, but it's we still have to go through the motions of life. We still have obligations we have to meet. We still have bills to pay. And it's hard to feel like you have to keep up when there's so much going on in the world, and we're in the midst of a revolution. So it's it's not an easy time, and a pandemic. So I think Black folks just need to be extra gentle with themselves right now. And I'm learning it too as I go, but it's just it's okay to feel like you're not getting as much done right now because you can't focus. It's okay to just rest and lay down all day if that's what you need to do. Because this is not the norm right now, what we're experiencing and what we're dealing with. And I think we're collectively all mourning and grieving too. So just sitting with that and taking it easy on ourselves and not owing anyone anything, and also not being afraid to ask for help, because people want to help right now. I'm saying, this fund wouldn't exist if it wasn't for people having the time, considering it's also a pandemic, and also wanting to give away resources and also donate. So people, being public, if you need help for something, all eyes are on us right now. So it's okay to ask for the help that you need. No shame.
Yes.
Don't compare what your child or what you have with me or anybody. Comparisons kill. Comparisons create envy and jealousy that is unwarranted, unmerited. It stifles creativity. if you want your child, or if you want to be great, you can't have this lead on your wings. You have to be free to be happy to see someone else succeed as you succeed, because you will succeed. We all have some success ratio, and unfortunately most of us aren't. It's not enough. We have to be able to take those times in the day and be grateful and happy for the successes we have as we strive for huge or bigger successes. Take stock of what you have. My second advice is reach out beyond self. Too many of us artists, we do get caught up, and there is a lot of time you spend time alone. We have to come out of our shells. We have to, and I don't mean being extroverted, flamboyant, or whatever, but be able to be there for someone else one day a week. For me, it's Saturday. I call it Sabbath. Every day, well, not every day, but this time I'm there for I'm available, truly available for others. And that helps put you in the mindset of being available to other people who may need you in the week.
Like, I know a lot of people, are saying, some are hopeful, but others are not. People are like, we're seeing the same things, similar things that are happening now, were happening then, and a lot of people are feeling hopeless, right? So what would you say to those people who are feeling hopeless? How can they, get through this time?
So I would say hopelessness is one, and helplessness are two of the hardest human emotions, right? When we feel them, there is a sense of despair that might even take over. So the first thing I would say, take care of yourself. It sounds very cliche, right? Because we hear that a lot, but really take care of yourself. Like, feed your soul, whatever that means to you, right? Is feeding your soul means being around your family, being around your friends, being around your loved ones. Don't fall into the idea of saving the world.
Yeah.
We're not saving anyone. And we both know, as two therapists, you can't save anyone, right?
You can only help yourself.
Exactly, right? You just show up for people, you just hold for them space, you show them the way, and it's up to them which direction to take.
Yes.
And I remember that, that's my coping. I find. That's what I know. When I'm under that level of stress or trauma, my first response is fighting until I'm like, okay, there's something wrong. I don't even know what it is. And sitting with myself to access the tears that you accessed, right? So even that knowledge will give people power to understand that which one of you do you need to run right now and talk about another topic and act as if nothing is happening.
Exactly.
And give yourself that break. Or do you need to fight and advocate and move forward? Or do you need to freeze, like do nothing? It's okay too.
Yeah.
So let's both of us give people permissions today to cope.
Yes, definitely.
Right? There's no guilt anyway. Yes, there's no guilt. Please cope in whatever way you need to cope. Right? And thrown people pleasing.
Yes.
You need to please people to feel better. Whatever you need right now. It's a survival space, right? So permission is so important. Yeah.
How do we move forward? What can we do to get to that next place where we can reduce some of the trauma, we can reduce some of the pain and the hurt, and I think you touched on it there in the sense of thinking of a global wider community of people who are in this together to fight this, and to be able to get to a place where we can recognize the need for each other. Right.
Yes. Yes, 110%. To be honest, I believe that the next step would be people gathering together as community, right? Call that group therapy for somebody to hold a space for the pain without judgment, to moderate the conversation. But that would be the next level, witnessing each other pain and transformation. Because there's something magical happens when you are seen in your pain without being judged. Right? And find other people's looks and empathetic looks of like, whoa, that's harsh, I'm so sorry, right? And understanding that the global phenomenon right now is going to trigger our own personal traumas from our childhood. The moments of helplessness, the moments of hopelessness, whether that was massive abuse or was little things of emotional neglect, it will trigger that, whether we want it or not, right? And then if you have access to your therapist, amazing, go and work through that. If you don't have access, talk to a friend. Right? Group therapy is way more accessible, as you know, Trisha, than one-on-one. But there is more need of that right now, right? We need people to get together, because the energy of people together make the transformation even more long-lasting and stronger.
I reached a stage in my life where I have no need to be ashamed of being slow, because there's nothing wrong. Slow progress means there's still progress, right? So I reached that, like, it doesn't matter where you are in life, that you can still accomplish your goal, and it may take time, but you really have to believe in yourself, and also you have to be your own cheerleader. That a lot of time people are not going to believe in you. People are going to have their different ideas of who you are and what you can accomplish, but you're actually the only person that actually knows what you can really accomplish in life.
Yes. Oh man, wow. I just love listening to you. I was like, okay, let us just keep talking, say even more. You know?
We thank you and appreciate your support of the first season of this series. We hope that you were entertained and inspired by our guests. And stay tuned as we look forward to season 2 of Meta Transitions.